open and available. Often see that banned early on as well. Will be the Yone. This kind of feels like a staple ban against HLE because Zeka's so good in it, but also they can flex it top if needed. Talia and Neferi, I think, are the two big picks we often see banned, but also like Kalista Varus, things we see often banned here. A lot open.
Yeah. I think Morgan's going to get a chance to play Gwen. We'll see what Zeus wants to play into that. As Poppy gets banned, that's another big pick that, you know, Kraka could play that, but also Peanut's fantastic on it, but they're just going to ban it away. Now, do you have to go ahead and just lock in the Gwen? Well, Azir is also available, so they're going to take that instead.
Well, I think here, though, HLE just go Gwen, Talia, right? I think they're pretty happy with that trade. Honestly, you don't even need to take the Talia now. You could go like Gwen, Neferi if you wanted priority on that jungle pick. You could go Gwen, Sejuani, which sounds very scary if HLE got the hands on that. Peanut, obviously an excellent tank player in the jungle, and also Gwen, very good at proccing that passive. So we'll see what they have to do. I think Gwen, Talia would be like the safe, kind of don't show your cards as early, but just secure the mid lane pick and be a bit more flexible. We'll see. I think especially with the Azir being taken, Talia's the obvious one, and you know, otherwise I would say Yone, but obviously it's banned, is what I expect Zeka to pick into it.
Yeah. It's also the Neferi kind of hanging in the balance. I don't think they necessarily want to pick it themselves, but they could. Looking at the Pantheon, actually. So Pantheon comes through. That should be for Peanut.
Yeah, so opted to go and secure that jungle before we go in the next rotation. I feel like the priority on Pantheon has risen up a decent amount in recent matches. One of that early pressure available. And now for Bro, what do they opt to go for in return? They go for the Ambessa. We've seen this matchup go badly many times before. The Varus is going to be locked in, though. And here, HLE, I presume they're going to go for a mid lane pick. Maybe not looking towards the Talia. You know, Zeka definitely a Sylas specialist. We'll see if he opts to go in that direction. Not as big a fan.
Not the Corki, please.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Just Talia. And the Talia Pantheon combo, you know, we saw this played earlier today. We didn't, well, we saw these two champions. We didn't see the combo working in unison. Hope to see a bit more of that in this game.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But this does mean that no jungle secured for Bro. HLE could really put some pressure down there. No AD carry secured for HLE, so looking to maybe ban away Ezreal from Viper, I think would be a decent call. Rom taken away as well. Frees up a little bit of the pool for Delight. Maybe just ban, I think Bro maybe ban Ezreal Alistar here. I wouldn't want to give Delight Alistar.
Yeah, I think you got to ban the Alistar. We were talking about it before, like the blind pick Alistar on R4 is so good.
Yeah. And I think Ezreal just makes sense because Viper very good at the pick and also just hard to get onto. We've seen it do pretty well into Varus, especially if it is that on-hit Varus. Ezreal can just outrange. Sejuani ban comes through. You know, we talked about that a bit before as potentially a pick for Peanut, but it does also pair well with that Ambessa and will be denied. The Neferi's still available though. Yeah. But I think maybe HLE with the Pantheon Talia, confident to play into the Neferi. You know, that combo not fun to play into as a squishier champion. And they go for the Rakan ban instead, so not looking to target Viper's Pool anymore, instead hammering away at Delight. But now, the Kalista comes through. Remember, the Talia's on the side of HLE. The Poppy is banned as well.
Kalista is not.
Kalista has struggled recently, and yeah, that's the thing. With this counter-pick position, if you pick a melee champion, they're just going to slam Renata. If you pick a ranged champion, they can just go Nico. They have all the options right now.
Yeah. You can't ban everything. They are going to pick Trundle, though. And that's got to be in the jungle.
Well, no dashes. So not going to struggle that much against Talia in terms of that sense. The pillar is very good against Kalista, though. Like, the pillar completely shuts her down in fight. So I think that might be the thought process here. Also, in a fight against Pantheon, you drain his AD, you can beat him in a longer fight.
Just take the Nico away.
I think it's actually a pretty heads-up play.
You don't lose.
Now, what is going to be paired with this Kalista? You're going to lose the poke battle. If you go the Renata, you're just going to get kind of bullied out. Maybe just go and engage support by yourself. Yes, Nico can harass you, but I think you're still going to be pretty fine with how things pan out. They go for the Renata, so they still end up going for it. Kalista and Renata are still very good in team fights, but I think lane's going to be a little bit rough. And the thing is, If you'd played a melee support, then at least in skirmishes or if like a fight breaks out, you can start bring out things that are a little bit more niche. I think it's a decent angle for the Trundle. Maybe it's something Crockett's been practicing. We'll see whether he's able to pull it off here. They are against HLE. It's still a very hard matchup.
Yeah, not going to be easy, but ready to be surprised if it does happen. We got Bro up against HLE. Let's hop onto the riff for game 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초.
All right, game number 1. Bro able to start on the blue side. HLE had to draft from red. And they might have to do it in game 2 as well. Same thing that KT did. I feel like even though a lot of our teams pick the blue side, I think the win rate is somewhat similar nowadays.
It's a lot more even than it was in LCK Cup.
Yeah.
It has balanced out a decent amount.
And finally, DK. It was DK, right? Who chose the red side, or was that KT? I think it was DK. Game 2 against Genji. Selected the red side. Lost anyway. But some teams are beginning to experiment.
That's the thing, especially as I feel like, you know, during the LCK Cup, we had like the Kalista, Skarner, which were like permabans. And yes, there are still some permaban champions at the moment, but there's a lot of power picks. It's impossible not to let something through.
Yeah.
I feel at the moment. And, you know, in this situation, the Azir's picked up, but the Gwen goes over. But then HLE still got a good matchup in the Azir, and they secure... I mean, I say a counter pick bot lane. They kind of picked into an unfavorable scenario, but they did have the choice to counter pick. You can see already Prio secured for Hype and Polu. So I did a good job of getting some harass in return.
Yeah.
Playing around the shield, playing around those autos. But Viper not having as much fun.
Yeah, you're very low range on this Kalista. This isn't like the old times of a lethality Kalista where you get to bomb people from screens away.
And it is going to be lethality Varus from Hype, which
yeah.
I think it's a decent call. A lot of squishy champions on this side may struggle to cut through Zeus, but I think with a Trundle and a Bessa and Azir, you have teammates who can provide that.
Yeah, I don't think this Azir loss streak of 6 games really is there because of the champion. Even though you saw Showmaker twice on that list,
I think,
and BDD.
I think part of the problem is that we're often seeing, oh no, Hype. He has no cleanse.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Comes in with the shield, and Hype is in a bunch of trouble, but he is just going to flash away, and he will be totally fine.
Great trade there, honestly, still for HLE. Take the flash of the AD carry and burn your own flash of support, but the route from Polo really good for ensuring there's no additional follow-up. I think if that hadn't connected, maybe they could have committed a bit more to secure the kill, but in the end, it's just a summon a burn. Not ideal, but not the end of the world.
Zeus in a bit of trouble, has to flash away, but Morgan playing the Ambessa.
Okay, we have seen a lot of Ambessa losing to Gwen. We have not seen much Gwen losing to Ambessa. Morgan finding a great angle there. Zeus have to burn the flash. I think he wanted to get the wave pushed in so he could TP back. Still a little bit ahead in farm, and we'll get that TP off. Burning the flash, a pretty big hit.
Trundle Pillar, pretty good, but...
That's a traffic cone.
Yes. It's pillar-sized traffic cone.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good at gank.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Azir, you know, we were talking before about the loss streak, is that often we're seeing Azir, it's kind of this trap you fall into, where a pick is so high prio, it only gets let through as like a first pick on blue side, and then often it's let through when there's counters available, you know. Talia's been doing really well recently, and Talia is often being picked into Azir. So if a team lets the Azir through, it's because they have Talia available, and they're confident they can deal with it. And they can also get, like, in this situation, HLE got the Gwen, and they have the matchup that they're finding.
So in 2024 LCK Spring in January, because on the Kwangdong Freaks at the time, took down Nomshim's Sylvie with Trundle against Viego. It was a win. I don't think that means that Trundle is just a good champ. There's a reason we don't see it very often. Look at this from Zeka. Going on a long play to the top lane. Morgan, though, seems to have read it. There's the knock-up, but the damage isn't quite there.
Yeah, the minion wave coming in, saving him a little bit, not allowing that threaded volley follow-up. So Morgan will sit there and sigh and go, right, thanks for that, but he won't die. It does allow Zeus to get a crash in here, though, and just have a little bit of a farm lead over Morgan.
Yeah, meanwhile, Zeka did have to drop a wave, and Peanut picks up some of that, actually. Holding the wave down here is the Bro bot lane. And Bro's always a team, you know, we always talk about how teams somehow hold on to their identities even though the entire roster changes. Bro is a team that have gotten big upsets before against DK, against Gen G. I'm not sure about against HANWHA Life Esports. I feel like they have not, based on the fact that they have lost for the last 2 years against this.
Yeah, it's like a very specific of just being able to beat Gen G for some reason.
Oh, deny? Still gets it off.
A lot of movement you're seeing from HLE around the map. Different members just coming in to help people get crashed. It's a sign of like a good, efficient team. That they'll just find a window where like Zeka comes top, helps get the crash, Peanut covers mid, Delight moves mid to help Zeka get the push in. It's small things like that that really separate our best teams from the rest. But now, Delight
just going for a little walk in the river, and he's going to get Mbessa ulted. Delight in a ton of trouble. And you see his team is trying to help him out. They want to get that kill on a Kroko, but the sweep comes in and denies it. First blood given over to Morgan. And now a wall to come down. Morgan does have flash, and they're going to throw in the sun. The knockback does come in. Can Morgan get out of this is the question. And no, he cannot. Nearly trades back on a Peanut, who does survive.
I think he could have just flashed, if I'm being honest, in that situation. Any scenario where you're waiting that long and there's clear follow-up, you're just going to die if you don't. So, holds the flash, does end up going down.
Taliyah Pantheon, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty effective when you use that combo together.
And speaking of which, this is Taliyah Renata. Again, that's a turret shot, and Closer just going to die even before Peanut can join in. And Zeka just looked so tasty for Closer. And unfortunately, yeah. He just baits him in. And that's another thing that Taliyah and Pantheon can do very well, even though Pantheon wasn't really a part of that kill.
A little bit of a miss with Kroko on the pillar. If it was a bit close to the wall, it would have trapped Delight so he couldn't walk around. It doesn't make that much of a difference, so he still goes down. But in the end, Kroko gets dangerously close to giving that reset to Delight, so does have to flash away to deny that. But here, Morgan could have just flashed out of the wall. Now. 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 Not now.
How about now?
No, definitely not now. A bit too late. And then he tries to get the kill on Peanut. It's pretty close.
Yeah, so Closer is the one that starts the fight.
Yeah, one of these situations where you don't have the mana. The thing is as well, like, when Delight's there, even if you killed Zeka, you had bailout, so he just answered back. Yeah, a little bit of an unforced error there, but HLE have to sweep that one out.
Well, one thing that Bro do have going for them is the Varus is very far ahead, about 20 CS, and Hype is farming it out pretty well. There was a bit of a pseudo swap there for a couple of minutes where we did have the Gwen down on the bottom lane, and he had to go up against the duo, so it was a lot of free farm for Hype. Viper wasn't farming much. HLE gonna take this dragon. Bro, they got 2 grubs, and now they've come down here to try to fight for the dragon instead of finishing off the grubs, it looks like. A lot of sticks in this one, not going to be an easy steal, and now Kroko's going to get caught for it, as now the combo comes in, and the Trundle, quite tanky, but not tanky enough. The Chains of Corruption, though, going to get Peanut down. Bailout comes out, as he does have to fight. A lot of damage going in. Hostile takeover is huge on everyone on the side of Bro, is now flashing in his Hype for something, and he's going to get the kill, actually. But still, it is traded back to Zeka, who is on the chase now. Oh, the root was sick, but not going to matter, as Zeka just picks up his 3rd kill of the contest.
Skirmishing power of this Kalista Renata. Delight getting that massive hostile takeover, I really think solidified this fight. Kroko unfortunately gets caught out. Does survive a while because of the ultimate. But unfortunately, Polo is in a great spot here, but he's not level 6, doesn't have the ultimate available. And that's the big difference maker. Imagine if Polo was 6 there, and if Delight If he wasn't 6 here, the amount of value he gets there from the hostile takeover is massive, and Hype fortunately manages to trade the kills, but I don't think they're feeling too fortunate after that outcome.
Yeah, and then the wall here is just insult to injury. There's nothing that Apollo can do in that situation. It's kind of crazy. The light's been all over the map, and yet still he's able to hit level 6 first, probably in part due to the assists that he has picked up, even that mid kill onto closer. And so he's just able to hit it faster. Apollo just a little bit behind.
Yeah, and I mean, Apollo has it now, but it's moments like that. Those are the key things. You know, we often talk about item breakpoints, level breakpoints, also massive. Zeus going the Rod of Ages.
What is this guy doing? I feel like he's just trying new builds in competitive.
It did just get nerfed, but he will have a lot of mana.
Yeah, that is true.
Not something we've seen here before in the LCK.
Catalyst, very strong, but unfortunately he spent the extra money to finish the item. I didn't even notice he had a Catalyst. I think we should have picked up on that at some point and been like, wait, what is happening? But we have had a lot of movements around the map. 9 kills at 11 minutes is quite a lot for us. And now, I mean, in the 1v1, he seems to be doing pretty well at least, and he is quite tanky. In goes Morgan with the ult, but he just gets stunned. There's not really much you can do against that and a bunch of needles flying in your face.
Okay, so I did just want to check, right? Looking at Emerald Plus on Gwen on this patch, 133 times is Rod of Ages being built first. Presumably some of those was Zeus. Presumably.
Oh, he actually, he got the real one. Palu's in a bit of trouble here. He's going to get the knockup of the hostile takeover. Comes down, and one Rend would do it. They're not even going for him anymore, looking for Hype here. As the wall comes in, Hype doesn't have flash. He is dead as well. Just 2 kills basically out of thin air for HANWHA Life Esports.
It's one of the problems, you know, the Nico, I feel like, really benefits from having the Callista at his side. That ult to save you from dangerous situations, allows you to be more aggressive, steps up for your ult. They don't have that. They have a Varus pairing, and it just ends up resulting in Hype dying too.
All right, looking for the play, Zek up. Nice respect on the flash. Just going to live. And in the top side, Morgan, you remember, he was winning that trade against Zeus. He got the flash in the 1v1. And then since then, everything has fallen apart.
Yeah, he's now 35 CS down. That's a lot.
That is a lot, yes. Going in on this one.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to say it. I think Eclipse is a little better than Rod of Ages.
I tend to agree with you on that one. What's he going to build next? Like Mercurial Scimitar or something? Like,
Archangels would be kind of based.
Did he forget like what this champion builds? Going in onto Morgan, and he's in a lot of trouble actually. It does look like Zeus is low, but it's Gwen, so he will live for a long time. Morgan does a good job of going around the alcove actually, as that is a very nice pillar this time around. Gonna get a flash, and they can't really trade it back. So Crocker comes up, spares the blushes of his teammate. Meanwhile, in the bot lane,
you know, a lot of people have talked about Zeus going through the Shy arc of playing stuff like 80 Nidalee top was, you know, a popular pick for the Shy.
Yeah.
Just building random stuff on champions. It feels like when you're at the top, this is what you do, apparently, as a top laner.
Maybe he just really wants the extra level.
I mean, he will get an extra level at some point. He is playing the scaling game, but I feel like he could have been playing the win lane game a little bit more. I mean, he's ahead,
You can
right?
scale better if you get more kills. But maybe he's like, I'm a top laner, I don't get kills, so I'm just going to build Rod instead.
Perhaps. You know what?
We're really, you know, trying to figure this one out.
I feel like it's a little bit inconsequential in this match. I really don't think...
I think you are right, yes.
It matters too much. He is still very ahead. But more importantly, Zeka has a 1.1k gold lead in this mid matchup, which is already very, very good for the Talia playing into the Azir.
Definitely is. Trying to make a play up here on the top lane. Zeus does not have his flash anymore, and both these champs can get inside the mist, but still, Zeus, he's going to get ulted down, but do they have the damage under the turret? Yes, they absolutely do. And they're going to shut down the streak that the 0-0 Gwen had. A little bit of extra money over to Morgan. Now Zeka is just going to get clobbered down by Kraka, but in comes the Pantheon. Auto would have done it! Zeka, he's burning, but he's living.
That's so sad.
Taliyah Pantheon. They work so well together.
Yep. Although I think a lot of mid laners would have just appreciated having a Pantheon to fly in when the enemy Trundle's trying to solo kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've seen... Look, this game is not going well for Bro. I don't think it's the Trundle's fault. I think we've seen some of the value of the Trundle.
Yeah. I think it's fine so far.
Yeah. The Rod of Ages, still jury's out on that one. But the Trundle, is it enough to win a game against HLE? No. Not yet, it seems. But enough to do some stuff. They're still not completely out of the game, but it is starting to look very rough. It's approaching that point. Oh, they do find the light.
Yeah, gonna avoid the handshake.
I was thinking they'd maybe force the Calista ult. They didn't.
Well, a little bit of a chase on a Peanut, who very brazenly started the Rift Herald by himself. That does a lot of damage now.
I mean, they're chunked out, so I think BRION...
No.
I tend to say they're in an okay position.
I'm not so sure about that Zeka, though. That's a very interesting spot for him. He doesn't have his flash, and he's just rooted, and he's taken down. As I immediately caster curse him. He didn't even have a chance to flash. I think he was like 5 seconds away, too, but that's a big shutdown given over essentially for free.
Yeah, big shutdown, and also getting the Rift Herald. So positive moves coming out from Bro. Gotta be a little bit careful of the hype.
Yeah, trying to run into Callista. A tempo barrier.
Yes.
Tempo barrier.
Yep.
Trying to stay alive so he can clear the wave.
Yep. Wants to stay around and defend his turret. Maybe felt like if he lost more health, he'd have to back away. Is what we're gonna say.
Definitely.
We're gonna theory craft that.
Absolutely.
Yes. So this one, just Zeka not realizing he's on a ward, because that control ward doesn't actually see to the end of the rush.
Yeah.
So just not deep enough. That is the thing.
Rough.
Is the pretense of having cleared vision can be really, really negative. Like if you think you've swept the vision and there's a ward hidden there, that's worse than not having swept.
I mean, Krako's here. If Morgan lives for long enough, he's going to go in and he's going to Ambessa all over them, dashing and turning and twirling. Peanut getting very low, and Peanut is going to finish him off with the execute. Here comes Palu trying to take down the Gwen, and he will be able to. Krako with that subjugate ticking, just doing enough to trade it back.
Yeah, they focused Morgan down. It was doing a fair bit of damage, but ultimately the execution from Peanut there from the Pantheon. But this Rod of Ages, Gwen, it exists. Oh, Krako.
Yes. Krako has the TP coming through.
Good pillar.
Bozer stopping that dash right at the right time. Meanwhile, Hype in a lot of trouble, has to flash away. Palu is here. He doesn't have mana or result, so he doesn't really exist. So that's a nice summoner takeaway by HLE.
A lot of scrapping going on right now. Zeka, double control ward in that brush, just to really ensure. You know how the brush earlier, they had one control ward, there was a ward in it. They made doubly sure there's no wards in this one.
He's like, maybe it's around the corner a little bit, like it won't see the edge of the other side.
It's guaranteed. I can say with absolute certainty that HLE know that brush is ward free.
I'm glad we got that cleared up. No Service Embrace here for Zeus.
Yeah, looks like he's going for the Nash's Tooth, which is a more traditional Gwen item.
Seems like a good idea. Here comes Krako again, but here comes Peanut again. We're just fighting. It's 2v2 all the time. No TPs available for either of the mid laners, so would have just ended up as a real 2v2, but both of them just elect not to fight. I
think honestly it would have been playable for Bro. I think they could win that 2v2 if they played it really well. But they didn't want to risk it. They didn't want to chance it. The game isn't actually in that bad of a state, if we're being real. You know, they're still 2,000 gold behind, which isn't good, don't get me wrong, but we've seen bigger comebacks.
We definitely have. Bro, generally when they 2-0 someone, they do get pretty far ahead pretty quickly, like they win the early game, but it hasn't necessarily happened this time around.
Yep, I will say, Dragon coming up now, third Dragon of the game, third Dragon for HLE if they secure it, and then Arakan in 30 seconds, and then on the safe side of the map. So this game is about to explode, and Bro are hoping it's a chance to get back into the game. HLE are hoping to close it out.
Well, still gonna get a charge off here.
Good amount of damage to this tower, and it gives them the ability to move into the river, clear out some vision. HLE trying to approach. Both Delight and
the
Peanut are
TP.
pretty squishy.
TP comes in, Krako trying to dodge everything. Instead, he's just getting corralled up against the wall. Now the TP comes over from their side as Palu gets an ult off and doesn't do much. And Zeus is on the flank, doing a ton of damage with the needles, but he's just getting focused down. And Bro, they peel back, they take out the Gwen. A lot of low health bars here, though, on the side of Bro. Will they try to re-engage on this one? Not so sure. It looks like they just want to take down the mid tier 1 instead.
Yeah, health bar's low, don't want to really risk it, approaching into the Talia. And we do see the feats of strength secured by HLE there. It's pretty close. I feel that fight was tense, but I think the thing that really sold it for me for HLE was the Weaver's Wall. I think without that Weaver's Wall, I think Bro might just actually end up sweeping that fight pretty convincingly.
Yeah, and you take a look at the gold now. I mean, yes, they're down 3 dragons, but Bro, they take the mid-inner, which is very big, and they're catching up.
This was a mistake from Krako going for this Blasco and put him in a bad spot. This Weaver's Wall not only cuts him off, but look at Palu's ult. Oh.
Yeah, speaking of Palu.
Look at Palu.
Oh, he's gone. I guess we're just going to do the Otacon.
Yeah, Morgan has no TP in his top lane. This is really bad.
Free Otacon.
From Bro. This is... See, this is what's frustrating. It's the last fight, genuinely, I think Bro played it well. And I was like, hey, they really have a chance of doing it. And then they open on the map. Your Azir has TP, why is closing our top lane? Put Morgan bot, because he doesn't have TP.
You were just talking about how the bottom side of the map is going to have huge amounts of action.
And they just... I don't know.
They didn't play around it at all.
You can see the fact that Ambassador's walking top lane here. Lane assignment's so important. This is the difference, you know. Like, Bro, genuinely, that last fight, they had some good moments. The Weaver's Wall, I think, really shut down the follow-up to Palu's engage.
Well, Hype in a bit of trouble now. He has the Edge of Night, and he no longer does. Now he will go to Zeus' Gwen, and the chase is on for even more. Krako will get away himself. But now Peanut just walking in between turrets, literally chasing Krako through the jungle past turrets.
I mean, the thing is now, Zeus got his level up from the Rod of Ages, got a ton of extra experience from the Arakan. He's level 15. He is so hard to deal with at this point. And it looks like the Rod of Ages Gwen has come to fruition. At the end of the day, it's still Gwen.
Yeah. And if you can hit level 16 faster, I guess you become a late game threat even quicker. But some of those fights where he, wasn't looking great. But still, it's a pretty interesting build. Testing it out here in Pro. Peanut coming up to the top side. They are going to look to take down this turret. And if anyone really comes up to them and they're alone, you can see Closer he has to respect so much because one stun and maybe he just dies.
I think the weird thing with it now is we saw Roa get nerfed, and now we're seeing this build. Surely you would have played Rod of Ages Gwen before Rod of Ages got nerfed.
Yeah. Well, we got Needles coming out once again. Morgan gonna ult the opposite way. And now the finality of the Needles coming through, and Morgan in a lot of trouble, has to flash away. Now Zeus has to flash out of this one, and will the arrow hit is the question. No, it is a dodge, but he has to get in melee range, and Hype will pick up the kill. So they take out Zeus, who is now 1-4.
Can't dodge auto attacks, and Hype probably happy he has the Halo Blades in the end there, able to take down Zeus. Not too much of a shutdown, unfortunately. And HLE about 2,000 gold ahead in a comfortable spot still. But yeah, Zeus finds Morgan here and does a ton of damage. That ult backwards, a little bit optimistic. And then Morgan, like, he's on the tower, I can get him. No, but at least Hype is there. Spicy didn't lead with the ult. I guess he was trying to save the ult, not want to have to use it. And then eventually just threw it. And the dodge forces him to walk back so he can get that
zoning ult.
Yes,
literally.
The zoning ult.
Fantastic play from Hype. Oh, it seems like they saw him backing in that brush. Gotta be careful about that. Krako is very fast. It's Trundle with his W, and he has the immense plate, so he's zooming around.
Yeah, this game still isn't in that bad of a spot for Bro, if I'm being honest.
I think the Otacon is a big issue.
It's not great, but it's not unplayable. we've seen worse game states, is something I keep saying.
Yeah, I mean, if they catch the right target, like Zeus has been caught many times, if they just catch the right target and they blow him up, they have enough CC to do it.
If they just have people in the right places on the map and don't randomly give away objectives.
If they just kill the enemy champions,
honestly,
I think they've got a good shot.
If they kill the enemy Nexus, I think their odds drastically increase.
Yeah. Well, HLE have total control. You can see the vision toggle here. Krako has to be the one that pops up, but it's Talia Pantheon. Subjugate does come out, but he's just barely going to live. Meanwhile, Zeus does push away Closer. Well, and that should be Cloud Soul.
Yeah, Dragons in 3 seconds ain't getting that. Cloud Soul Gwen, horrible to play into. Well, no, Gwen, horrible to play into. Cloud Soul Gwen, extra horrible to play into.
Yeah.
So that's secured. And it's feeling a little... It's like that thing where it's not that far apart, so it doesn't seem unrealistic from a like odds percentage of Bro winning.
Mm-hmm.
But then these things just keep happening that make you go, oh.
Yeah.
Gold lead's not huge, but the Atakan and the Cloud Soul are not reflected in that gold lead.
Yeah, they definitely are not.
And even though Morgan has a lead in gold over Zeus, Zeus has kind of hit that Gwen point where he just does snip, snip.
Yeah, Zeus still ahead on levels with his Rod of Ages. Do have the Hex Drinker here for Morgan. We'll see if that helps him out. Void Staff finish for Zeka as they see Zeka going into the brush. Now we got a pillar coming down here as well. I mean, pretty hard to lock down Talia at this point, as now in goes Peanut. Krako is zooming away. Even a wall to come down. Paulo just trying to zone them away desperately. The hostile takeover keeps them around. Peanut going very deep for this one, but it will be absolutely worth it. And Viper hopping around like a crazy man. He is going to take out the Trundle, and Morgan gets here late. It's just a disaster for Bro. It's HANWHA Esports. You're not getting away from this Gwen. The Cloud Soul Gwen.
So fast.
Chasing him down. And they're just going to do the Baron instead.
Yeah, well, that signifies kind of the end of the hopes for Bro. Or maybe that does.
Or I think that does, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well...
Viper Cleanse, though?
Yes. With.
Yeah. Well, that's a Baron over to HLE.
I will say, if you look across HLE, a lot more tier 3 boots picked up than we've typically seen. Everyone apart from Zeus has those.
They're cheaper.
More affordable.
In this economy?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, no tax cuts. So for you guys who forgot to put in your bro tax, yeah, Zeka just decided to stand on a push that had a ward in it.
Baiting.
It was all a bait, yeah.
Yeah, trades flashes there, and then here, I mean, Krako, I feel like some of these fights, he starts them so low already. The ult for Paulo doesn't do much because he gets hostile takeovered, and then Closer and Krako are beating each other up. The tower's there to kind of help, but it really doesn't do that much.
And Viper just like...
They're so fast.
Zipping forward.
I feel like as well, the additional movement speed they have, and the fact they have a bit of slow resist from those two clouds,
yeah.
pillars just aren't doing as much as you'd hope.
Yeah, the Cloud Soul of the Trundle feels very nice. I mean, Zeus was going like Mach 10 there. That was insane. After he popped his ult, obviously with that speed boost. And HLE with the Baron now. Closer...
Oh, that is a direction.
Okay. Oh, actually, it's pretty good. It was all a bait all along. I feel like this whole game is a bait at this point. Peanut also going to go down to his GA. We got a turret here. HLE, they still want to fight. Morgan getting pretty low, but I think he's got the damage. Now Zeus elects to go in himself. And here comes Viper. He wasn't even a part of this fight. He was doing the wolves. What is happening in this game?
Chaos. Absolute chaos. Bro, you got a couple of kills. Be happy with that.
Viper's going in. Viper's angry.
I feel like they could win 3v5. And I think Bro know that, and they back away.
Well, they got 2 Baron buffs out of them.
They got a GA as well from Peanut, so it worked out pretty well. The bait was a bait. You can see Peanut's like, I've got him. And then he dashes in, he's like, oh. And then he realizes Morgan is here. Not much Zeka can do to outplay that. Did try to put the wall down. Didn't really do much. And then it got a little bit crazy. This ult from Polu, fortunately, Gwen is immune. Not able to get the knock up there, otherwise maybe Zeus would have gone down as well.
Viper just looks so incredibly fed. And he is. I mean, he's got a 700 gold bounty, so he kind of just gets to do whatever he wants. Hype, he can't run away fast enough. Like, the ult is used, and he's just sprinting at him. He can't get away. Kroko caught in the jungle, too. And Closer here just extra sacrifice. Of course, they're going to dive the turret. It's HLE. They don't have any breaks on this tank. And down the mid lane, they will go, and they will end game 1 in their favor.
It's only Polu left. 1v5. Nico play.
All right.
Incoming.
Go for the ult. Go for the ult. He doesn't have rocket belt. Oh, the fake. Nah, he's just gonna conserve his KDA.
Bait them into diving you. Bait them into diving you. Look, juicy.
Yeah, no, he's sitting way too back. Okay, flash forward. Up, up, up. No, it's not gonna happen. Down goes the Nexus, and the light's already